Well, I'm Lynn Whitbeck, the Strategic Sales Queen, and I am also the Managing Director of eWomen Network Greater Seattle. And I am really excited to introduce you to one of the amazing women in our community. And it is Crystal Tate of Crystal Clear College Planning. Now,
Hello.
Crystal, hell, yeah. Crystal helps families combine smart admission strategy with financial planning so they can avoid overpaying for college. Oh my. And is this timely or what right now? So I'm sure you've all got that, all the activities, and your kids are going to be starting to get back into college or to high school and start getting their planning in place, or those are, whatever they're doing. So this is really important about what Crystal does in her work, and I am so excited to share that with you. So, Crystal, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, I know that everyone is going to want to hear the story behind your business because it's a great story and what led you to the work you do today.
So it's crazy to say I've been doing this for 15 years. And I didn't take what is considered a traditional path, and I didn't know that there was a traditional path for for this until the last handful of years when I started to go to conferences for our industry. So I originally thought I wanted to be a financial advisor, and once I got a job working in a company, I realized I really didn't want to do that. When you get to spy and overhear on conversations, and you're like, actually, not really as exciting as I thought. And I got really lucky that the guys that hired me, actually, one of them started in the college planning side. And so he shared with me when I said, "Can you please sit down with me and tell me the different avenues and pathways because I'm not feeling this?" And he was like, "Well, college planning is one of them." And I was like, "Tell me more about that." So they sent me to Texas and I went to training, and I have been doing it ever since. And what was crazy is I guess they saw enough in me that they helped me launch my company. So I was working for them doing back end support and just administrative stuff and doing in house college planning. And then left and was doing my own college planning. And it has evolved drastically over, I'm going to say, especially the last 3 years, because it had been very much like I was a solo practitioner and I had different vendors in different areas that would help support in test prep, or I had somebody I was working with on essays. And there were different pieces as people were continuing to ask for different levels of support. I would find somebody that had a specialty in that and I would add them to my team. And over the last couple of years now, that has expanded nationwide, and we're working with other educational consultants that don't have that kind of practice, where we do forms and awards analysis for their families, and they focus on what they love and are great at, which is college admissions and helping the kiddo figure out their list of schools. And then financial advisors that want to be a hero to their clients, that, college is really large expense. And so as a financial advisor, they're like, I want to help families figure out how to do that, but I don't want to know everything about college planning. And so then we partner with those kinds of professionals to be able to offer the full scale of service for those families. And so those are kind of the partnerships, and working with PTAs to get directly into high schools to use our programs actually as ways for them to raise money for their school and community. So just looking at other avenues to be able to get the work out there, and letting people know, like, yes, you can spend 10, 20, or $30,000 on an educational consultant. However, you do not have to. We do believe in like making this affordable and accessible for like normal humans, and want to make sure that people can utilize all of the resources, even if they just need a little bit of support. Like, how can they get where they need to go?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's so fantastic. And I also love how you really focus on, matching the students with the right college because they may think, oh, I want to go to Yale, but is Yale really a good fit for them? And let alone the fact that it's like,
A lot of
yeah,
money,
yeah,
$100,000. Yeah.
a year, and like, how are you ever going to pay that back? I think that's one of the things that I admire most about your work is really, not only how you serve the families with the financial planning side of it, but also making sure, as you call them, the kiddos are matched up to the right experience. And it really leads me to, when you first start working with people, what do you find they're usually struggling with? What's going on?
So it's been kind of fun. I actually started doing something new, which was polling families to find out what those concerns were. I hear them all the time when I meet with people, but I was curious if it would change, like if I texted them and I asked. And so like this week, I sent out a request and I said, hey, where are you most concerned? And or how where do you feel like you're at in the process? And it was one family said, I have a plan. Everybody else said, I'm not sure where to start or I already feel behind. And that is typical. Like, I mean, that is when people are coming into a conversation with me, it's usually, I don't know how to pay for this. Another really big one. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to understand what schools are affordable and what affordable even means. I don't know how much college really costs, right? Like, and to be fair, it's confusing. Like, there isn't a straight answer for that because there are so many ways that you can get discounts off of certain types of schools, but not from others. So I would say those are the big ones. And usually when I have an initial consultation with family, like we ask for data so that I have insight and understanding. And I have like two of those meetings today where it's like, okay, I have an idea of what, like, where this is probably going to go. But then it's also finding out, like, really though, what are your concerns? Like, if you haven't done this process before, even if you have, like, people will stalk me for 6 years and then come back and be like, yeah, I watched your webinar, but my kid just went to like one Arizona State and it was fine and I didn't need any help. Or we met with you once and now our next kid, though, our
Yeah.
next kid. And they're like, it's completely different. And I'm like, yeah, it does change based on the types of schools they think they want or what they don't know and understand yet. And so I mean, I I say I get the same questions every single time, but then it's how do we apply that to your situation? Right? Like
Right.
that's what the differentiator is.
Yeah. Well, you always have to be a detective.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like, you're doing that work. So, and when you do that and what changes for them, after they work with you?
Um, I would say the biggest thing is they understand like where they are on what I call the game board now. So I actually created this yesterday and it was really fun in response to that poll was what, college is a game, unfortunately, and you're on a game board like life or whatever, right? Like, so
Yeah.
now you're moving through these paces, what you do freshman year, what you do sophomore, junior, senior. So how do you find out where you are on the board and what is your next best step, right? So based on where they are and what they have already done, then we're talking through like, okay, you don't need to be overwhelmed by the 50,000 things you feel like you need to do at some point, but like what is the next trajectory? And so giving that clarity, I think is super important because then people feel less stressed out.
Yeah, absolutely. And what outcomes or results do your clients experience?
So I would say definitely the organization and structure, like in the platform that our families use, it essentially does walk them through that timeline with due dates and reminders and expectations of like each piece of the process so that they stay ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Um, then the other side is not, I will say, not everybody cares at first about the cost of college until their kid makes a decision to go to a school that's silly expensive. And then they come back and they go, oh, by the way. And now it's like, now they want to figure it out. So as much as we try to teach them and coach them and educate them on how do you understand at the beginning of the game how much these different schools are going to cost and why, and is your list smart and strategic? Because if not, and you don't feel good about where it is, then we need to figure out what is missing.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, so can you share an example of your work in action without anything confidential or anything, just to give us a real, like where they were, where they, and how they came out in the back end?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I will say one of my favorites from this last year was it was actually a student I had worked with his sister, and she's at Gonzaga. And so I can't tell you how many times I hopped into a meeting with him. And then the one time she was there because she was home from break and she was like, he needs to go to Gonzaga. Like Nathan just needs to go to Gonzaga. And so it was, I mean, like a family that like super open to looking at like the options and, but really wanted to make sure that like, you know, they had schools that they knew how much the net cost was going to be. And
Yeah.
didn't want it to be more than $50,000 a year and ideally wanted it to be less than that.
Right.
So he, though, did all of the things that was asked of him and he made connections with the schools. He went and visited, he connected with his admissions counselors, and he was known, which was super helpful. He was then given opportunities to apply for honors college scholarships, full ride tuition opportunities at certain schools. And then this kid went behind all of our backs and was like, I actually applied to like 7 other schools that we didn't have on the list because one, silly acceptance rates, less than 10% for a lot of them, and schools that were going to be full pay, where mom and dad were like, there's no way in HE double hockey sticks we are paying 70, 80, right, at plus $1,000 a year for these other schools. But he just threw his hat in for funsies because he got a free application, and mom then wouldn't know that he applied. And so I was like, you sneaky little bugger. Because when we met and like he's saying, oh yeah, like I applied to UT Austin. Out of state is like 3% acceptance rate. It's ridiculous. And he got in. And he got into
Oh,
Vanderbilt and all of these other schools. Okay. So this kid though, all of his schools that he did have were great fits where he got a boatload of money for the schools we had on his list. He got into all of the crazy schools, which we were like, excuse me, you got into all of these, congrats, but no, that's not happening. And the one school he didn't get into, which was his number one school, University of Washington.
mm,
And we were like, you got into freaking Vanderbilt and UT Austin, but you didn't get into University of Washington. Like, does this make sense? No. So we're like, you know what? The universe has better things for you than University of Washington. Just saying, right? Like, there's other things coming your way. And when it came down to it, he was waiting to hear back on that full ride for tuition at Loyola Chicago. Didn't get it, sadly. And because his sister was at Gonzaga, he got a significant sibling discount for choosing to go there. So it was like just, I think it cost about the same for him to go to Gonzaga as it did to go to University of Washington. And so
wow.
his merit scholarship with the extra sibling discount. So it was like, yeah. So he went to Gonzaga with his
That's
sister. But like it's one where he was a kid that listened, followed, did, and maximized every opportunity along the way. And like those are the ones when they really take advantage of everything, right? And take the action because it's like if you don't, like it's not going to do you any good.
yeah. Yeah. And I think that's one of the big things too is that there's a way you can get there with some of the things that can happen with scholarships or discounts that you help your families work through. So I think that's so valuable. And that's a great story,
Yeah.
and
We don't tell people no when they're like, granted, mom told him no, right? Like, no, don't, you're not applying to Vanderbilt and stuff. And I'm like, you can throw your hat in the ring if you want to, but she's like, I'm not paying for the application fee, right? But like most kids, they'll be like, hey, I still want to apply to da 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 da. And I'm like, it's fine. We're just going to try to manage expectations. So I would rather have you be excited about a school that we didn't expect you to get into rather than me tell you like, oh yeah, you have a chance to get into Vandy when really that's hard for everybody, right? Like I'd
yeah,
rather you be excited than sad and disappointed and that you understand really where our strongest options are. Um, and then like you're kind of in a better frame of mind, right? Going into that next phase.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, this has been a really great conversation. It's so timely for what's going on. But, the other side of you as a business owner, I'd love to have you share a growth lesson that you've learned that other women entrepreneurs and business owners could benefit from.
I'm gonna say some of the toughest lessons that I feel like I have gone through are the ones where, like you just didn't see it coming. And then you go, well, obviously, I'm same as kind of what I said with that kid. It's like the universe has something else in mind. And now, like, what, like, try not to get attached to the outcome and like be a little bit more open to receiving and being like, okay, well, what's next? Like, what trajectory am I supposed to be on here? Because what the more I have tried to force something, then the worse it has gotten, right? Like that wasn't something that really, like it wasn't naturally happening and it wasn't meant to be, but I was like, gosh darn it, I want this to happen, right? And so I think we all kind of get like, we have a goal or we have this idea of the way something should go, and then when it doesn't, yet again, it can be upsetting. And now really taking the time to step back and say, well, what is actually, what should I be spending my time on? As a business owner, there's way too many hats. And so if you can't delegate it or you don't really want to do it, it makes you sad and want to cry about it. Like I was talking to my accountant yesterday and she was like, oh, you need to do this. And I'm like, there's a reason why I pay you. Like this, I don't know how to do that. I know how to do the bare minimum in here. And this is what that looks like. I have you to do these other things. Cause she's like, oh, you just do this. And I'm like, that's what you do, Lindsay, not me. Oddly enough, 15 years ago, I found through eWomen.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Like I still have eWomen people from in my circle from eons ago that I still work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's one of those things. So I'd love to hear your take on why being in the right business community matters, and how it especially is beneficial for women entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and I will say, I really didn't, I'm going to say probably appreciate it as much when, like when you're doing stuff, you're just like, oh, I'm just doing it. Like, and I enjoyed the relationships and the connections. And then you just kind of forget about it until, because I took a huge hiatus because it was family and marriage and divorce and kids and all the things, right? And so when I came back and I was like, oh my gosh, I know this person and this person. And I forgot like how many people I still have, because I mean, my accountant is one of them, but I have other people that I still like that I work with on a regular basis for other things that I'm like, oh yeah, where did I originally meet them? And I'm like, oh gosh, it was there. And I think that finding the groups and the things that work for you, like now this year has been my year that I decided to dedicate to like networking and meeting people. And so like when we went to Exceptional Connections and you were like, oh yeah, Robin's here, and like, oh yeah, like the Michelle with Macaroni Kids. So it's like I've got other people now like that I'm partnering with different things and trying to help promote like what they're doing because we have like clients, right? And it's like trying to just get back out and into that space and finding the people that, whether it's socially or like, I have now somebody that my mom usually comes and babysits the cats while I'm gone. And she broke her foot and she couldn't
Oh,
do that anymore. And I had somebody from eWomen that does pet sitting. And
yeah.
so now now I have that, right? Like, so sometimes you just never know what resource you're going to need. And it's fabulous to then be able to find it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that is so true. And Danielle is wonderful with the pet sitting here in the Greater Seattle area. So, with eWomen Network and the Greater Seattle chapter, how has community supported you in your business journey?
Oh gosh, let me count the ways. um, I will say like emotionally, there were like I have somebody from 15 years ago that I still work with, like nervous system wise and like energetically. I see her on Monday, and I feel like getting to know people over such a long period of time and working like with Danielle and other people that are newer in my world though, like now my favorite thing is being like, so somebody else says, hey, I'm looking for XYZ and I need this resource, and it's like, okay, here, right? Like, and so I find myself to be a collector of people and like resources and just being like, okay, like if I don't need it, there's probably a client. And that was what started it back in the day, was I needed resources for different things for my clients. And so
Yeah.
I went there. That the essay person that I had worked with for 13 years came from eWomen.
Yeah.
He retired, so now I have somebody new. But like, right, like that is that says something, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's the same thing. It's like I may not need this service, but I know that just, I don't know if it was you or somebody else, but it said, who is it? And I sent them the information so they could call her and get it started. But it's like, oh, I know there's somebody, who is it? And, but it's like, who do I know that I can, serve whatever it is that you're looking for at that point in time. And it's a trusted resource. So it's really a great shortcut instead of trying to Yelp something or, Google it or chat it or whatever you're going to do.
Yeah.
Um, so I'd love to have you share a connection, collaboration, or referral or a resource. I mean, you have been doing that, but like a specific story that came from eWomen Network. I mean, I know our Robin is actually one of your clients, so that's sort of a
Right.
funny thing.
I know, yeah. So, and I think that that one's probably the silliest one was, right, like I was kind of under the weather when we had that April event and I was the table leader and I had you were like you sent out the stuff. We had it all scheduled. We sent out the email blasts and the socials to share it because I have no idea who's all on my list. I'm like, there's probably clients or people, right? Like I don't know yet again that stalk me. They're on my list. So I might, I provide the resource and I love doing that, right? Like I'm doing that with other things for other people that I'm meeting. And that is where, right, you're like, oh yeah, Robin joined. And I'm like, who the heck is Robin? Like, what are you talking about? And then I meet her next week at another networking event that we're both at. And it's like, oh my gosh, because she's working with one of my other coaches. And it was funny because afterwards, I was like, when I knew her last name, I was like, oh my gosh. And then I looked her up and I was like, okay, well, that's fabulous because I didn't, she's in HR and doesn't,
Yep.
yeah. And I'm like, great. I'm glad. I'm glad. Like, but that was back in April, right? This just happened in July. So, sometimes it takes a hot minute and then people come out of the woodwork. And same thing though, I had a client of mine that actually showed up to the April event that I had never met in person and only had talked to via Zoom. And so when when she's like, "Oh, hey, I'm hi," I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Right? It's just a small world.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, it really is. And it's that connection and it's, people who come together who have that, they're serious about growing their business, but we also have the core shared values. And I think that's one of the things that um, I love doing what I do to create these rooms where women business owners can truly connect, collaborate, and grow together. And I know that our next event for Greater Seattle is right around the corner,
Mhm.
and it is for business owners, women, and a few good men who are ready to build real relationships and gain fresh ideas and be in a room where people truly show up. And that event is next week. You and I are going to be there on August 6th, Thursday, August 6th, in downtown Bellevue. We've got a great speaker, Don Stebbing. And for those of you who'd like to attend, please come. Crystal, who do you think would really benefit from being in the room?
I really do think that like the women, like you said, the women in business who are looking, I'm going to call it to get out of the rat race a little bit. Like we all kind of get stuck running, working in our business rather than working on our business. And I feel
Yeah.
like choosing to be in networking rooms like eWomen are where you're working on your business and making those connections and choosing to do things a little bit differently. Whether you're finding somebody to delegate stuff out to, like, hey, first hire you need to make if you haven't done it already is you need an assistant, right? Like, and you don't realize, right, like how much stuff sometimes you're doing until you start talking to other people who are, and that can then help elevate you.
Yeah. Yeah. And just one person can have an idea that you hadn't thought of. I mean, I actually got that yesterday. I met one of our Portland sisters was here for a conference. So we met for dinner. And I was going like, I'm not really sure. And she goes, oh, well, and I went, oh my gosh,
Right? Sometimes it's a little,
mind blown. And it was just like because having the conversation and it was, I'm going like, well, I'm going to do that now.
uh-huh.
So it's not just and there's the social aspect, yes, but we're all there to truly grow our businesses and to grow together. So I would love to have you share how people can connect with you, Crystal. I'm dropping in your website right now, but please, I know that they've gotten so much value. And anybody who's got a kiddo who's approaching it, or even in college and thinking about a change or how to do graduate school, they need to be talking to you.
Yeah. So you can always schedule a consultation through my website. You can always email me, Crystal, Crystal, at crystalclearcollegeplanning.com. And I'm happy to answer questions or chit chat. I will have people that will just randomly email me questions. And the cute thing was, like today, I had an email from somebody that I worked with who's graduating from Washington State University and applying to vet school. And so she
Oh,
was reaching out to ask about resource. She was like, I'm stuck on essays and like filling out the application and other stuff. So what did I do? I connected them to a human in order to make it, because I was like, I don't do that, but I think there's probably somebody on my team who does. And they were like, yeah, that's fabulous. So I, just like you do, it's one of those where, you want to be a resource and be of support in any way you can.
yeah, absolutely. And that is so true. So I am adding in the crystalclearcollegeplanning.com. I had to squint to make sure I got it right. And I think I had your old, maybe,
Oh, that's because that's not my website. Here, I can do it. It
I
is
already,
quirky, collegefinancingcoach.com.
yeah, I've got that one in there. And I just
Oh, you do?
added crystalclearcollegeplanning.com.
Nope, that's not my website.
Oh, well,
Yep.
everybody, forget that last entry. Let's scratch that. I don't think I can delete it from the thing. Um, so, all right, let's give Crystal a big round of thank you, Crystal. I really appreciate your being here today, and it's been wonderful. And I really appreciate you and all the work that you do.
Thanks.
All right, take care, everybody.
Bye.